Hello Internet, so nice to see you. Today we talk about why a lot of people are confused by modes. And in my experience as a teacher, what I'm going to talk about today is the point that confuses everybody when we talk about modes. Now, I don't claim to be talking for everybody here. What I'm going to say is completely obvious for some people, completely wrong for other people, and a complete mystery for even other people. So, as usual, take what's useful for you and leave the rest. Now, you may have heard what I call the standard explanation for modes. The standard explanation goes this way. We have the major scale, like the C major scale, and, for instance, the Dorian mode is just the major scale starting from the second note. Or the Lydian mode is just the major scale starting from the fourth note. Yeah, this is wrong. And the thing that makes it wrong is this word here, starting. It doesn't really matter where you start. Here's a little example in Dorian. And in this example, the first note I played was the F note, not the D note, and still this example is in Dorian, it sounds Dorian. Now, I don't know who initiated this idea that a mode is just a scale starting from another note, but this idea of starting spread around the internet like wildfire, and it's wrong. No wonder you're confused. So here, let me try to make clearer what actually makes a mode. And if in this video you find that you're missing some pieces, which is perfectly possible, I cannot explain all the modal theory in a short video, or if you want to know more about how to go about making music with modes, how to play them on your guitar fretboard, then I do recommend my course Master of the Modes that contains a full and detailed explanation of all that and much, much more. Now, first of all, what are modes? Well, modes are just scales, and scales are simply sets of notes that we're gonna play together. When people ask what is the difference between a mode and a scale, they don't understand that those two words refer to something completely different. For instance, Dorian is a scale. I could talk about the D Dorian scale, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Dorian is also a mode, but saying that Dorian is a mode is an incomplete sentence. The complete sentence is Dorian is a mode of the major scale. What does that mean? It means that there is a major scale that contains the same note as Dorian. If I take the C major scale, the notes are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and so you see that C major and D Dorian contain the same notes. Two scales that have the same notes are modes of each other, so I can say that D Dorian is a mode of C major, but I can also see that C major is a mode of D Dorian. The first way of saying it, it's more usual, simply because the major scale is more common than the Dorian scale. And here comes the next point of confusion. If those two scales contain the exact same notes, how are they not the same scale? Why they don't sound the same? See, that's where everybody gets it wrong, because they tell you that the C major scale starts from C and the D Dorian scale start from D, but starting has nothing to do with that. The problem here is that the distinction between those two scales is psychological. But psychological does not mean fake. It's a real psychological effect due to how your ear understands those scales. Let me explain this in a simple way. The C major scale also has the same notes as the A minor scale, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. In classical theory, we say that those two scales are relative of each other, but we could also say that they are modes of each other. Now, despite having the exact same notes, the C major scale and the A minor scale sound different. For instance, here's something in C major. Now, before I play something in A minor, I need to reset your ears. You'll see later why. So, pardon me for what I'm going to do right now. Now, let's play something in A minor. Now those two examples sound different, and yet those two scales have the same notes. Now you can tell me, but Tommaso, you played chords, not notes. Well, yes, but if we examine those two scales, we see that since they have the same notes, they also have the exact same chords. And yet, those two pieces sound different. The first sound, let's say, happy, and the second sound, let's say, not really happy. Happy and not happy is maybe not the best description, but at least you understand what I'm going for here. Anyway, why those two things sound different? Because to understand a piece of music, your ears need a reference point. They need a pitch that is perceived as more important than the others. And then all the other pitches in the scale are relative to that pitch. This pitch is the tonic of the scale. In C major, the tonic is the C. How does your ear know that the tonic is the C when I play something in C major? Because typically I start and end the piece with a C major chord, so I make it really clear that C is the tonic of the piece. In A minor, the tonic is A. How does your ear know that A is the tonic? It's because typically when I play in A minor, I start and end things with the A minor chord. So that's a very clear indication that that is the tonic. When I played that short chord progression in C major, your ears immediately understood C as the tonic. Then I had to play some random sound to dislodge that perception from your ear. If I was to play immediately the A minor chord progression, your ear would have perceived it as still being in C major because the notes were the same. So I had to put something in between to change your ear perception. Quite freaky, huh? Now, this idea to start and end the piece of music with a specific chord, it's but one way to establish the tonic note. It's not the only one. Another way, for instance, is to play a drone to your music. A drone is just a note that is held throughout all the piece of music. There are many other ways to establish a tonic in the ear of the listener, but those go beyond the scope of this video. An important thing here is that if you don't establish the tonic in the ear of the listener by doing something like starting from a specific chord, then the listener will be confused by your music simply because they cannot understand your music if they don't have a reference point, if they don't understand which pitch is the tonic. The perception of what is the tonic or the tonal center in a piece is not fixed, and indeed, there are ways to make your ear change its mind on which one is the tonic. This is part of what we call modulation, how to make the ear change tonic and so change key during a piece of music. Again, beyond the scope of this video, but a very interesting topic. So this is what happens if we have C major and A minor. Modes are what happen if we do exactly the same thing with all the other notes. So I have those 7 notes, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, if I am in C major. If my reference point is C, I get the C major or C Ionian scale. If my reference point is D, I have the D Dorian scale. If my reference point is E, I have the E Phrygian scale. If my reference point is F, I have the F Lydian scale. If my reference point is G, I have the G Mixolydian scale. If my reference point is A, I have the A minor or the A Aeolian scale. And if my reference point is B, I would have the B Locrian scale. But B Locrian is always a problem because the jury is still out if you can establish B Locrian independently from the other modes. But don't worry about that right now. Now, another point of confusion for which I would apologize, but I didn't make it, it's the use of the Greek names. Those tend to make everything more complex. I mean, why we should use the Greek names? Why not call these the first mode, second mode, third mode, etc., etc.? Come on. Anyway, everybody uses the Greek names, so we are pretty much stuck with it. So if I want to play a piece in D Dorian, the only thing I need to do is to start with the chord, build on the D note. Using only this note, I can build a D minor chord, the FA, so if I start from a D minor chord and I play these notes, what I will perceive is the D Dorian scale, not the C major scale. But when I play the melody of the song, I can start from any note. What makes the mode is the chord and the chord progression, not the lead player. So here's a D minor 7th chord. I could start my melody from the E note. Or I could start my melody from the G note. So, recapping, it doesn't matter from what note we start. What matters is that what note your brain takes as a reference point. One way to establish that note as a reference point is to begin your piece using the chord built on that note. This is not the only possible way to do it, there are many others. If modes are confusing, it's because this idea of the reference point is a psychological effect due to how you hear those notes, how you listen to music, and not something that is realized physically into the music. So to understand modes, you have to understand how the human ear listens and understands music. I hope this video helped clear some confusion. For much more on all these, and especially how to apply all these to actually make music in practice, I do recommend my course Master of the Modes. Master of the Modes is not a book, and it will never be a book. It's a complete video course that helps you starting from zero and building everything up so that you learn everything there is to know about the modes, how to use them to make music, how to use them to solo over any kind of chord progression, how to play them on your guitar, how to think about them, how to visualize them on your fretboard. It's a course made by guitar players for guitar players. If you have a minute, I totally recommend you check out Master of the Modes on the link at the top right. If you like this video, smash on that like button and don't forget to subscribe and click on notification, otherwise YouTube will not let you know when I put up a new video. And if you have any suggestion, comment, feedback, write them down in the comments, I enjoy reading from you. This is Tommaso Zillio of musictheoryforguitar.com. And until next time, enjoy!